possible to grow fruit in your own small backyard garden? Join me for the ups and downs of trying to create my own mini fruit grove of strawberries, blueberries, and raspberries using my green stock garden and my in-ground garden beds. I put a lot of plants in the ground this year, but will there be any fruit to harvest, or am I just feeding the birds and squirrels? Join me and let's find out.
This first part of the project is fairly simple. All I'm doing here is cleaning up what was an existing raspberry bush. Raspberry bushes love to spread, and ours had spread well beyond the place where it had first started and was growing up into the other garden beds. So as I'm preparing to put in my raised garden bed, and I can link that video in the cards above, where I installed these garden beds about 2 months ago, I was digging up the raspberry plants that had grown outside of the garden bed space into the other garden beds, and for now I'm just setting them to the side until I have time to figure out what to do with them. My goal for today really was just to clear up some space, moving some of the other plants that didn't need to be in this space. Like there were some tiger lilies and other landscaping plants growing in between the raspberry bushes and other flowers. And rather than having a mishmash of plants, I'm taking out all the things except for the raspberries so that we can have one raspberry patch in between our two raised garden beds rather than everything sort of all together without any order or sense.
First fruit of the season with a raspberry. Nice and sweet.
I purchased blueberry plants several months ago when I was planting my eastern redbud tree. If you didn't get a chance to see me plant my redbud tree in my front yard, I will link that video in the description and in the cards. You can check that out as well. I bought 2 varieties of blueberry plants, the blueberry Duke variety and the blueberry North Blue variety. Both are good in zones 3 to 7 and enjoy a full sun to part shade. Unfortunately, my blueberry plants had to sit and wait for my garden beds to be ready before I could plant them. One of the things that I know about planting blueberry plants is that they like to have acidic soil. So as I was digging my holes and preparing my soil for planting, I added a soil acidifier and mixed that in with the existing soil into the hole where I planted each of the blueberry plants. Next, I'm rolling the side of the planter to help release the plant from the pot and massaging the roots. I like to do this with any larger perennial or bush that I plant so that it gets a jump start on growing by spreading out the roots and helping them to engage with the soil a little bit better. Then I'm going to backfill the hole with some of the soil that I had in this garden bed previously and finish it off with a little bit of compost. Of course, tidying up some of the weeds and other things that I cleared around the bed first, just to make sure that our blueberry plant has enough space to really grow and thrive. Our blueberry bushes were starting to get eaten by all of our little critter friends, so we had to put some netting over them, and we'll see how that works out. I did plop some of the extra raspberry plants in this bed as well, and one extra strawberry plant, so we'll see what those do. So, bad news on the strawberry tower. It seems that all of the bare root strawberries I planted are gone. Not to worry, we will just try again. Alright, so it seems that none of these little plants are alive, but there's a lot of little tiny bugs in the soil. I guess that's a good thing. The soil looks pretty dry, but under the surface or near the center it looks wet, but over where I planted the plants in the pockets, super dry. So I think part of the issue is perhaps that I did not put the right type of soil in here, and then that's causing it to really just not be successful. So I'm going to dump this soil out and start over. So here, let's see if I can get that to focus. It looks like a root rot is what got us. See that? So here I'm checking all the rest of the bare root strawberry plants that have died and checking the roots, and they pretty much all look the same. They've got the same sort of root rot situation. At this point, I know that they're not going to grow or sprout in the soil that they're in, but just in case any of them are still alive or could regrow, I'm just going to put them in the ground around where my blueberries are, and if they survive, they survive. If they don't, no loss. So I'm just sticking them in the ground, hoping that they could have another chance in a different location. One of the biggest mistakes that I think that I made here is that in reading the directions and putting together my green stalks, it recommended not to use topsoil or raised bed garden soil, but to only use a high quality, really fluffy potting soil. I didn't have potting soil at the time. I just had the same soil that I filled my raised bed gardens with. And I thought that that would be a good enough solution. And I was just really excited to get started planting and didn't want to wait. I think that because I used a soil that wasn't designed for these type of containers, it was holding a lot of moisture in the bottom of the planter while the top of it was getting really dry. Perhaps also maybe the strawberry plants were planted too deeply. I thought that I had each of the crowns above the soil level, but perhaps that was also another reason that we ended up with root rot. Ultimately, the combination of the soil that I used or the way that I planted the plants just didn't work together. So starting over with new plants from the store, I'm separating a couple plants just to give us a few more plants and fill out the planter a little bit better. And then I'm replacing it all with an organic potting mix, which is light and fluffy and should help those strawberry root plants. Finished result, got some strawberry plants in there. I planted some sweet peppers, some nasturtium flowers. I threw in one cucumber and a hot pepper as well for a little variety. Update on the strawberry tower. We got a bunch of rain over the weekend while I was away out of town, and strawberries are looking really good. We got healthy plants here. This is one that I had to cut back because some of the leaves were dying, but it's got a new sprout on it already. Just more, lots of new growth and healthy leaves. This one here. This one down here, even a little strawberry growing. Let's get around and see if we can see that. Mountain mint is doing awesome. I believe it's echinacea. Nasturtiums looking pretty good. More nasturtiums. This is our cucumber plant, already with a little baby cucumber on it. Strawberries. These are marigolds that we started from seed. Another strawberry plant. You can see some of them, after I transplanted them, they had some dead leaves. I cut them back and they are sprouting again. Also mixed in some peppers. Another bell pepper, or no, hot pepper. One tomato down there just for fun. And look at that. Got our first healthy looking strawberry on our strawberry plants. Feeling pretty good about that.
Growing your own fruit can be very rewarding and delicious. It takes time and patience, as most crops require a few years to really get established. As I'm nurturing my fruit grove and dreaming of next year's harvest, I'm going to go to a local farm and pick up some berries that I can enjoy this summer. Thanks so much for spending your time with me today in the garden. I appreciate you so much. Please get involved in the comment section. Let me know, are you growing any fruit this year? What fruits have you had success with in the past? And if you've got any tips for me as a gardener who's just starting out learning how to grow fruit, drop some knowledge in the comments below. We'll learn from each other, we'll share. All of our gardens will be more bountiful. Until the next time, I will link another one of my garden videos in the description box below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.